Hi, this is CY. Welcome back to my channel. Right, today we are going to do episode 3, part 3 of the comparison between the Breville Barista Pro and the quick Mill Rubino heat exchanger E61 machine. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue to try to dial in the shots by using the built-in grinder on my Breville Barista Pro. And if you have seen my previous 2 videos, I've started from the grind size of an inner burr setting of 6, and I have further adjusted it down to 5 and to 4, and today I've cleaned out my burr set again, and I've adjusted my inner burr setting to 3. Right, so now my coarse adjustment now is at 10, so we're going to start from 10 and see how fast we can dial in the beans, and how does a shot taste like by using the built-in grinder, and pull shots on both the Barista Pro and the quick Mill Rubino. So that's what we're going to do today. Right, hopefully I will not be I will not need too many tries to get the beans dialed in. Today we're going to use the Colombian beans, which I've roasted on the 14th of January. Today is the 29th, so it's about 15 days. So it's actually the perfect time to use the beans, right, for espresso shots, right? So I've also prepared the shot glasses. So now let's start, right? Okay, as you can see, I'm preparing the bottomless portafilter for both. So I'll be pulling shots using the bottomless portafilter on both my Barista Pro as well as my quick Mill Rubino, right? So we can actually see the quality of the shots by using the bottomless portafilter, right? And I think some of my viewers says that is it okay or is it good to lock up your portafilter in the group head of the Barista Pro? My personal opinion to that is you probably don't need to do that, because the group head is never hot no matter how long you open it. So you can see now I'm touching the group head. It's actually cold, right? So the fastest way to get your group head hot and the portafilter hot is actually to run a blind shot. That's the fastest way to get it hot, right? So now let's warm up the machine as usual. Okay, let me get a cup. Right, as usual, we'll do the proper warming up. This is something that I've learned by the hard way. I know that quite a number of you are experiencing the same problem I had a few months back, whereby the machine, when you try to pull shots, it only runs for about 5 seconds, and it will end with 3 beeping sound, and the machine will stop, and you can't do proper descaling, you can't do proper backflushing, because the machine will just stop after, let's say, 5 seconds into the action. So I sent my machine to repair quite a few times, and they couldn't diagnose any problem. And I think I have a viewer says that he has the same problem with my machine, and when he sent the machine back to Breville for repair, the Breville technician told him that it is due to the flow control device that's attached to the thermojet. That flow device is faulty, and hence I think that's what I'm thinking. I think that because of the faulty flow control device, it is not able to pass enough water through the thermojet, and if there's no water in the thermojet, probably I don't know, maybe there's too much heat generated, and the machine detects it and actually stop the machine from further pushing water out, because the thermojet is trying to heat up, but there's not enough water pushing through. Another possibility is that the scale building up in the thermojet, right? You know, the thermojet is actually tiny coil of passages whereby it allows water to flow through, hence therefore the thermojet can actually boil waters very rapidly. Right, as claimed by Breville, it takes about 3 seconds to get the machine ready, and it's indeed a very fast machine. But I think the main issue with this machine is the thermojet and the flow device, right? If this two doesn't give you problem, then I think you can use the machine for a long time, right? So how I overcome my problem is I didn't send my machine, my machine wasn't repaired, the flow control wasn't replaced, there was nothing done to the machine, right? I actually sent my machine to my friend Abby to diagnose, and he teach me a way to properly warm up the machine. So he told me that before you use the machine, you have to give him a wake-up call, like a proper warm-up. So the proper warm-up should be holding the single shot button, right, until the manual is flashing. It's not flashing, it's when the manual comes out on the LCD screen. Allow the water to run for about 10 seconds, then you press the single shot button to off it. So this is actually a so-called proper way of warming up the machine, right? So this is what I've been practicing so far for a couple of months, and ever since I've practiced this proper warm-up, my machine doesn't give me any problem at all. I have no issues of the 3 beeping sounds and 5-second short time. I have no such issues ever again. I think my method did help some of my viewers sharing similar issues that I have, and it eventually helped them to solve their problem as well. So I think basically it will break down into 2 parts, right? The first part will probably be the physical device that's faulty, which is the flow control unit. The other one could be the scale building up your thermal jet coil, and you can try to run the scale if the machine allows you, but if it doesn't, you may want to try the proper warm-up method, right? I mean, there's no harm trying that. Okay, so now the machine has been properly warmed up, right? So same thing, I'll run some water through my, for my heat exchanger machine, right? You can lock up your portafilter in the group head, right? Because the group head has continuous stream of water flowing through the E61 and back to the boiler. So the group head is extremely hot, right? So if I put my hands around the group head, I can feel the heat coming out from there. So that is the difference between the traditional E61 and the Breville thermal jet system, right? It's a totally different concept in the espresso, in these 2 different espresso machines, right? Okay, so right now again my grind setting, my coarse grind setting is at 10, my inner burr setting is at 3. So let's try to dial in the machine, dial in the bins. So as usual, we'll try to use 18-gram shots, right? Oh, smells great. I'll do about 18.5 grams. That's usually my preferred dose. Right, so now it's 18.5. Okay, let's grind and see. Right, use my dosing funnel. For those of you that purchase my dosing funnel, right, don't try to pry or pull open the top cover, right, because it's magnetized. The magnets are actually very strong, right. The best way to do this is actually to turn, twist and turn, right, and it will be unlocked. So now I will just be using a dosing funnel, so I will remove the bottom cover as well. You see me flapping the cover. I'm actually trying to blow out the remaining grounds that were stuck inside the burr so that I can get as much as the coffee ground out as possible. Right, the ground looks pretty okay, the coffee ground. we will try to pull a shot and see how it goes. Right, the E61 heat exchanger machine, the water is really very hot. It's extremely hot. So there's a fast way to heat up your cup as well. Right, so let's zero it. Okay, let me bring you closer to see the extraction. I will hold for manual pre-infusion. The shot looks still running a bit too fast. Now it's only 20 seconds and I'm already hitting about 60 grams. Right, so about 25 seconds I hit about 67 grams of espresso shots. So it's flowing way too fast, but the shots looks pretty good. Right, so I think we will just give it a go and try to see how the espresso tastes like. Right, the flow is from my observation is fast, right, but most importantly is how the espresso tastes like to you. Right, I know we like to have this 1:2 ratio. Like if I have 18 grams of coffee beans in, I'm aiming about 36 to about 38 grams of espresso liquid out. So that is only a guideline. So the most important is how the espresso tastes to you. So cheers. I would say the shot is actually not too bad. It's quite bright. But I can taste the sweetness there. It's on the slightly acidic side, but the citrus note of the shot is not the unpleasant kind. It's actually quite pleasant. I think we have a pretty good start. I think we just have to reduce the grind size. Now the grind size is at 11 actually, so I just have to reduce the grind size. Judging at the flow rate, I think if I reduce it to maybe around 9 or 8, I think we should be hitting the sweet spot of these beans, right? Right, so I will not drink this. I will just leave it aside. And we will continue to pull the second shot. I will use my Barista Pro as a benchmark to see how the flow rate is like on the Barista Pro. And once I hit the sweet spot on the Breville Barista Pro, I will use the exact setting and do it on my quick Mill Rubino. And from there, we can actually do a comparison between the shot quality, right? Right, so you can see the part is very nice. It's very dry. And with one knock, it's out, right? So it's very nice. Flush. Always remember to flush your cook head after every use, right? So that you'll be much easier to maintain your cook head when you do the back flushing to remove the oil stain. Right. So now the burr is empty. The hopper is empty. Sorry, not the burr. I will reduce the grind size to 9, right? I think should be fine, right? If it doesn't, then we'll just do it one more time. So okay, let's grind. Let's weigh some beans. Right, same thing, 18.5 gram. Okay, that's about 18.5. Right, I think after I clean out the grinder, right, you can see that there's much lesser clumps as a grinder is grinding the beans. I think the clumps has actually reduced. So I do not know whether this has to do with the maintenance of the burr, right? You may want to try to clean out a burr and see whether you actually experience lesser clumps of your coffee ground. Right, second shot, grind size 8. Let's see how it goes. Right, again, let me try to bring you closer. Right, let's see the shot. Again, I'll do a manual pre-infusion. 7 seconds. We are into about 20 seconds, 22 seconds, and I'm hitting about 22 grams of shots. 28, 29 seconds, 30 seconds. And I'm hitting at about 41 grams. So I think the ratio is pretty much about 1:2. And I think, look at the shot quality. Right, I think it's a pretty good shot. Right, let's try it. Right, I like the Colombian beans. They are very chocolatey and nutty, with toffee as one of the taste note. Right, let's try that. Wow, my first shot I can still taste a bit of bitterness, the first one. This one, the bitterness is totally gone. However, the shot actually becomes slightly more citrus, it's a bit more brighter, but it's definitely sweeter as compared to the second shot. So that is actually the shot quality from the Breville Barista Pro. It is able to produce good quality shots. On the whole, this is really enjoyable shots, right? So let's repeat the same grind setting, and we'll try it on our Rubino, right? Right, so you can see my puck is now stuck. This happens as and when, it happens sometimes. So not to worry, just use your finger to try to tap it and the pucks will actually come off. Always remember to flush. At the same time, you can actually clean up your portafilter as well. Right, so right now what's going to happen is we'll use the same setting, grind size 9, inner burr setting of 3, and we'll move on to the Rubino, right? So let me just do a bit of cleanup. I just want to dry all my stations, clean the group head, make sure it's dry, right? And I try to get rid of all the oil stains that's stuck there, so that my stations will look neat and clean, right? So same thing for heat exchanger, right? We really have to flush before we pull shots. So right now, let's try to measure some bins. Right, same thing, I'll do 18.5 grams. So technically, because I'm able to pull a good shots on the Breville Barista Pro, it should be able to pull the same quality or if not better on the Rubino, right? Let's see how it goes. 18.5 grams, same thing. Okay, it's a bit too much. Yep, okay. Okay, great, this is about 18.5 exactly. Right, so now we'll use the built-in grinder on Breville. Right, this time I'll be using a dosing. Let me see. I think. Yeah, I tell you what, I'll just dose directly to the cup. Right, I'll try to activate again. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you can see I got actually 19.9 grams out. Right, I just now measured 18.5 grams in and I have got 19.9 grams out, which means the retention on the built-in grinder is about 1 to 2 grams, right? So let me scoop some of the coffee ground out, because I want to make sure that we are still using about 18.5 grams. Okay, so that's pretty much 18.5. So let's run a shot. You can see it's really very hot. Right, the Rubino is actually an entry level heat exchanger, classical E61 group head machine. Right, it is called the entry level because it doesn't come with PID. Right, I will be importing the PID version, the quick mill Andrea, right, with built-in PID in the very near future. Right, currently, if you are interested to get quick mill, right, I'm the authorized dealer in Singapore, so you can actually buy the machine from us. We have ready stock. I think currently the Rocket is out of stock. The Rocket Apartamento is a machine that always compared to our quick mill, right? If you read some reviews on the comparison between both machines, you can see that our quick mill machines are better specs as compared to the Apartamento, and our machines are cheaper, built with very good quality parts. Right, so let's. Right, now you can see the coffee ground. You can see that there's actually clumps, right? Quite a big clumps over here. So what can happen is I will try to distribute it properly. Right, remember this is a fluffinator you have designed. So I'll just try to distribute this so that it will settle properly. Right, so after using the fluffinator, you can see that the grounds are distributed much better. Right, same thing, we'll distribute and temp. Right, so it's pretty level. Right, so before I pull shots again, I'll try to run water. Right, it's important before you use your heat exchanger machine, always flush group head before you pull shots. Right, so let's see how the shot goes. Let me bring you closer to see the shot quality. For about 20 seconds, I can extract quite a bit. Somehow, the grind setting that works well on the Breville Barista Pro is still a bit too fast on the quick Mill Rubino. But of course, that also depends on how I distribute and temp just now. But we'll taste a shot. The extraction is a bit too fast here. Right, but if you look at the shot quality, right, let's try it. Right, let's try the shot. Cheers. Wow. Yep, the shot, the second shot I put on the Breville is very bright. On the first shot on the Rubino, the brightness has come down. Zero bitterness, there's no bitterness at all. And it is actually very enjoyable shots. So comparison between two shots is the shot, the taste on the shot pulled by the Rubino is able to produce a less citrus shot, and the sweetness is slightly higher, is higher than the shot pull on the Breville. Right, I would like to try one more shot. You can see that on the Rubino is still pulling a bit too fast. I will down the size from 9 to about 7, and I will try to see whether the shot quality can be improved further. Generally this is quite a nice shot. So let's do that again. Right, so now my external coarse setting is down to 7. Right, same thing, we'll try to dose 18.5 grams. Almost forget to tare to zero out the previous reading. Right, it's a bit too much. Let's take out a few beans. Right, 18.5 exactly. Right, so around now again, I'll try to use the bean grinder on the Breville, right, to grind it. So let's see how much beans are we getting this time. 18.5 exactly. So right now we managed to clear, right, all the beans that's previously in, and now I measured exactly 18.5. So I think this does actually works, but I think it only works when the grinder is activated. Right, that's why you can see that I try to grind out the bean first, and I activate the grinder again, and do this action to try to push out the remaining ground that's still stuck inside there. So now I have about 18.5. Right, if you take a closer look at the grinds, the coffee ground, you can see that there's quite a bit of clumps on the top, right? Okay, so let's try to get this out. Right, the part is dry too. Right, comes out in one knock. Flush. Right, let's dry our polyfilter. Right, same thing, dry my counter. Right, so the polyfilter is really very hot. Right, again I'll try to use my fluffinator to try to distribute the ground so that the ground will be properly settled. Right, this is my own design, right? I use the acupuncture needle, right, and I've 3D designed the holder as well as the piece that hold the needles. Right, distribute. Right, let's temp it. Wow, it's very hot. Polyfilter is extremely hot. Right, it's really very nice. Right, so let's flush again. Okay, let's try this. And let's pour a shot. Right, the last glass, shot glass here. Let's see how it goes. Right, so let me bring you closer. Right, still there's a bit of channeling, so you can see my scale is a bit wet. Right, so I think the shot somehow still run a bit fast, but let's see whether the reduced grind size has improved the shot quality. Right, so I think this will be the last shot I'm going to do tonight. Right, so this is our episode 3 so far. Right, so let's taste the shot. Cheers. Wow, this is a much better shot as compared to the first one I put on the Rubino. Right, it's very balanced. The acidity has further dropped. It's very sweet now. Wow, this is so far the best shot so far, even though it's still pretty fast. Yeah, it's very enjoyable, right? So you can see somehow I still couldn't get it dialed in on my Rubino, but you can see at my second attempt when my grind setting is at 11, right? I'm already able to pull quite a good shot on the Breville Barista Pro. So but the shot quality as a comparison, its taste, usually I'll pull more acidic shots on the Breville, right, as compared to my Rubino. My Rubino is able to extract the sweetness better as compared to my Breville Barista Pro. So this is just my own experiment. You can, if you have you have a E61 heat exchanger machine, as well as the Breville Barista Pro, right, you can actually try it out and let me know in the comment down below to see whether you are able to pull a better quality shots on either machine, right? So this is only my findings, right? Definitely not 100%, you know. I cannot be saying that this is confirmed 100% that my Rubino is able to pull better shots, but at least when I actually do it, my shots on the Rubino taste better. I can taste more sweetness, less citrus, less bright, and definitely there's no bitterness at all, right? Okay, so this is what I have for you today. Thank you for joining us, and if you like my channel and my videos, do consider subscribing to my channel and like my videos, right? Because that will help my video to get to be pushed out to get more audience, and hope that I can help more people that owns either Breville Barista Pro or the Quick Mill Rubino or any other heat exchanger machine and the comparison. Right, so thank you for joining us today and have a nice weekend.